drives.
I have to watch this video. It's called Top Every Minecraft Ranked.
Listen, Race.
And decided to go over every...
Morgan, no! Morgan, no! Don't do this, Morgan. It's crazy. No, Morgan.
Bro, this kid's gonna pause his mom in the middle of driving. She's gonna
Oh, I've seen this. POV, she's turning right, and there's an orphanage across the street. She goes around and hits the orphanage.
Well, this one, it has... Remember that car?
Oh, yeah.
Car and drives off the cliff?
Worst chunks.
Let's get into it.
No worst. Frostburn. Is this the update that added magma blocks and polar bears?
Usually when I make these ranking videos, I say something along the lines of,
Oh my god, this guy named Pluto
they're all
V2
really good,
streams
but
almost
some
every
are
day
just
saying,
a little bit better than
Fortnite
others.
item shop.
This update was just
New
plain
Family Guy
bad,
today.
okay?
I think
It added
that
three
they
of the most
Fortnite announced
useless
they
and unoriginal mobs in the game.
Alright.
Family Guy.
The Stray and the Hunt.
Who's that Ninja
It added a mere 5
Oh, it's this guy named Ryan Seville.
which are the only even remotely cool additions.
What does he do?
Fossils, which you may not have even realized
He
were in the game,
reviews
were also
Lego sets
added.
and fake Legos. I'm gonna watch
Probably
this
the
fight
only
stream.
significant addition was the teleport command, but even that's only useful if you're playing with cheats. But on top of it all, this update added what's probably, definitely, the worst feature in Minecraft history. Auto jump. I can't stress enough that this update was by far the worst. But its ranking does. The added bees were cool, and we'll get to them in a... This was primarily a bug-fixing update, meaning that although there weren't really any major gameplay changes, lots of problems with the game were finally fixed, and Minecraft was better set up for larger updates in the future. The bees were just for fun. They're well thought out and come with a lot of cool new features and prop mechanics, but their honey wasn't especially useful for anything except maybe parkour and some redstone contraptions. Overall, 1.15 is at the bottom of the pack because there just wasn't a lot added.
1.1 update.
This update is so boring that Mojang didn't even give it a real name. Although some of the things it added, and pretty much the only things it added, like super flats, spawn eggs, and blacksmith chests, are pretty critical things we take for granted nowadays, the fact is that 1.1 didn't really add much. It's not 1.10 level bad, and none of the additions are annoying or terrible, but there just wasn't much of an update to speak of here. However, it should be noted that while it didn't change the game per se, the addition of 56 new languages was huge for growing the player base and making the game more accessible.
Hey, hold up. You'll want to hear about all this earning. Whew. Love to see that cash back.
You can't make summer stand still, so make the most of every last second with a new Toyota at Toyota's National Sales Event.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan and roadside assistance. Toyota, let's go places.
1.11 exploration update.
This update added a couple of cool late-game features, but overall it joined 1.10 in what was starting to become a stretch of pretty disappointing updates. Maybe we're being a little harsh. The update added observers, which are useful for creating many kinds of compact automatic farms, and llamas, which are, I guess, kinda cool. In addition, the update added two great late-game features, shulker boxes and totems of undying, which gave players a reason to go on long expeditions items even after they finished the main progression of the game. Honestly though, the most disappointing part of 1.11 was its main feature, the Woodland Mansion. The mansions are extremely rare and introduce new villager mobs, Vindicator, and a Boger.
Be right back. I got a drink.
Belt my rankings will be best and worst.
Remember when it was cheaper?
Nope. Be right back.
It sounds so good. What?
Who do you think you are? Hang this. Making a scene. Indulging yourself? Alright, you're you. DJ Max. Or you can be forced to be you to the max.
New Astapro, steroid-free allergy relief that starts working in 30 minutes. While other allergy sprays take hours. Now with Astapro Best Allergy Relief, you can Astapro and go. And for a girlfriend, so I turned every mob into an absolute babe. Yeah. My friend Ethan isn't just ready for a girlfriend, so I turned every mob into an absolute babe. Hey. Ew, gross. You know this is live, right? It's time to expose Ethan for scripting! Hello, Mr. Sheepy Weepy, long time no see. Wait, seriously, I meant specific for a girl, not for a sheep. You need a haircut, my G. Why is he so obsessed with him? Make that wool off there, thank you. Dan, you got some soft tundra, I mean. No matter how much plastic surgery you do, yeah, he's still going to be a guy. As a reward, I'll get you a treat, my snook. I think it's about time we step in. Can you turn away? Perfect. We need a girl of some sort. Oh, no. We need a sheep. Wear sheep. That'll be perfect. All right. Yeah, well, original fire
She's
sheep,
such a little biter. What a little biter, little shepherd pitbull. Thank you.
Unfortunately, the long trek to find a mansion just wasn't worth the meager loot, especially now that raids spawn with pretty much everything you'd get from a mansion. In all, 1.11 had its pros and cons, but Minecraft was slowly fading away from popularity at the time. Although a lot of factors contributed to the decline, another mediocre update definitely didn't help matters. Howdy, neighborino. Couldn't help but notice that you're still watching the Fiddly Diddly. I assume that means you like it. So if that's the case, why not subscribe? Only a teensy tiny percentage of our viewers are subscribed right now, so that means I have to do these stupid gimmicks to get people to click that button. It would mean a lot to us if you'd subscribe and like the video. Did somebody say mediocre? We present to you 1.12, the world of color. There wasn't anything necessarily bad in this update, but nothing too impressive either. Concrete powder, and of course concrete, emerged as a good way to add bright, clean color to builds. And the new glazed terracotta could create beautiful patterns if used right. Along with these additions, this update added parrots, a friendly new bird found in the jungle. Now, I'd like to say that I do actually like parrots a lot. great pets. I'm not prejudiced against them. In fact, some of my best friends are parrots. But parrots were just another addition in what was becoming a disturbing trend for Minecraft. Mojang was constantly adding new mobs, which was cool, but it was starting to seem like they were adding things just for the sake of adding them. Polar bears, llamas, parrots, they add a fun ambiance to the game, but they weren't at all
Bro, this
fleshed
guy
out.
made a girl
It was just
slime.
more content for the
He
sake
added
of more content, without
you
any
know,
real rhyme or
pixel.
reason or gameplay
So.
changes.
I guys have Pixel not here.
It was
Beep.
pretty small, but it still added some cool things that made Minecraft feel a bit more complete, and of course, colorful.
The horse update.
The name pretty much says it all for this update. Obviously, horses were added, along with all the things you needed to take care of them, such as leads, hay bales, horse armor, and name tags. In addition, carpets and stained clay, now known as terracotta, were added, and a new game launcher was released. The new launcher was more user-friendly than the old one, and made it much easier to switch between different versions of the game, which definitely was helpful for making this video. Overall, this update was a little below average. Horses were a nice addition to Minecraft's whole medieval quest theme, but between minecarts, elytra, boats, and just plain sprinting, they were never really an effective method of travel.
In a world controlled by gas, there's only one way out. The Skill Power Core 40 yard equipment. Its advanced lithium battery technology is just as powerful as
I'm already on those.
This update was the first truly big update since 1.0, and it added some pretty iconic features. One of the game's most visually interesting and unique biomes, the jungle, was introduced, including ocelots and new jungle wood. The height limit was also doubled from 128 blocks to 256 blocks, allowing for taller and better builds. But the best part of the update was probably the way its next few features, although a little small and simple by modern standards, combined to create an interesting and strategic PvE challenge. As of 1.2, zombies could now spawn in sieges, with dozens of mobs converging on a single village to terrorize the inhabitants. If this wasn't scary enough, 1.2 gave zombies the ability to bash down wooden doors horror movie style. This new threat forced players to make their villages and homes as secure as possible using iron golems, also added in the update, and iron doors.
I love iron
The
doors.
update didn't add a ton, but it's full of solid additions that helped lay the groundwork for what Minecraft is today.
I'm James A. Denise, and today we're looking at
This update was really the definition of average. It added some nice stuff, like banners and armor stands. Slime blocks could be used for flying machines, piston doors, and some other contraptions. Diorite, andesite, granite, and prismarine were some good new building blocks. Sea lanterns were a clean-looking new light source. And rabbits were cool, I guess. The new ocean monuments were a fun challenge that added interest to otherwise boring oceans at the time. That's really all there is to say about this update. There wasn't really any overarching theme, just a bunch of random things that weren't bad, but weren't especially useful either.
Well
Some
spelled.
updates get lost in the middle of the rankings because they're forgettable, because they didn't really add anything of value. Not 1.14. This update was a major change to an aspect of the game, and with that came some pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. This update was basically a complete revamp of villages and the way they operate from the bottom up. With work blocks, beds, and new professions, villages felt alive again, while new pillager enemies created a constant struggle between good and evil in challenging raids and patrols. However, the downside of all this, or I guess the upside depending on how you want to look at it, was how easy it became to obtain late-game items. Just by trapping a few villagers and replacing their work block a couple times, players could basically gain instant access to rare enchanted books and armor. Full raid farms could be exploited to get practically infinite amounts of totems of undying. Basically, 1.14 was a great update that made villages more interesting than ever, but in a way it took away some of the grind and difficulty of the game. To be fair, it added a ton of new features and blocks to the game, such as bamboo, barrels, bells, blast furnaces, campfires, photography tables, spletching tables,
God damn it.
saw blocks, lanterns, lecterns, looms, scaffolding,
I was
swinging
not
tables,
being
stalls,
smart.
blueberry bushes, new types of signs, slabs, stairs, and walls, cornflowers, lily of the valleys, nether roses, blue, brown, black, and white dye, crossbows, leather horse armor, suspicious stew, cats, foxes, pandas, brown mushrooms, pillagers and ravagers, wandering traders and their llamas, bamboo forests, and snow villages.
Do
This
1.3.
update added jungle and desert temples, which make worlds a little more interesting to explore and are a good way to get loot, as well as ender chests and tripwires. Sandstone stairs and different types of wooden stairs and slabs were great additions that help builders create more detailed structures. Villager trading was implemented for the first time along with the new emeralds, giving purpose to villagers and giving players a new way to acquire resources. Some other smaller additions included books and quills, written books, and the bonus chest. Finally, and maybe most importantly, adventure mode was added to the game, which allowed for the creation of playable maps without the risk of unwanted griefing or cheating by placing or breaking blocks. This update is by far the most controversial in the history of the game,
1.9.
so we're on some thin ice just talking about it. Anything we say could spark a full-on war in the comments. The combat changes, namely the addition of an offhand, shields, and attack cooldowns, were pretty unpopular, and we'll talk about those soon. But unfortunately, players get so caught up on that stuff that they often forget about the rest of the things that were added. The end became worth exploring with more islands, forest fruit, and cities, and elytra, a really amazing feature that completely changed the late game of Minecraft. Regardless of whether you think it made travel too easy, you can't deny that flying is really, really fun. Some other small additions were grass paths, structure blocks, beetroots, dragon's breath, craftable end crystals, lingering potions, and tipped heroes. Anyway, enough stalling. The combat parts of the update,
Was
kill
ass.
cooldown and shields, were controversial and might have made PvP a little less fun. But Minecraft updates are about making PvE more interesting. 9 did. Shields and a kill cooldown add a little more strategy to mob fights besides just spam clicking with the sword. PvP might have suffered, but Minecraft updates aren't designed with PvP in mind, and players can always play an older version of the game if they like. After a few years worth of mediocre updates following 1.9, Minecraft was fading into irrelevancy. Although still a very popular game, Minecraft was becoming stale, and for all intents and purposes it seemed like it would go down in history as just another fad. Some said it was Microsoft's fault. Some said the game was too complicated. Some said it was too simple. Fortunately, over the past few years, the game has surged back to become as popular as ever, and a lot of that was thanks to the first truly great update on this list, the update Aquatic. 1.13.
The only problem with that thing Aquatic is that it really lagged the hell out of games apparently.
Still had some of that same creativity and magic that made the game so popular in the first place. New ocean biomes and structure made the seas worth exploring again, while new ocean mobs not only added a cool ambiance, but had their own interesting features and mechanics, whether you were getting a shell helmet from a turtle or fighting the drowned in hopes of getting the elusive trident. In all, despite one regrettable feature, the update Aquatic blew most previous updates out of the water, and set a precedent for future updates.
So I live in St. Louis, Carson lives in California.
We're so distant and don't get to see each other. I miss my dad so much.
How you doing, Car?
Dad's in the room.
Meta, oh god. The Redstone update
This was
1.5.
around when I started playing Minecraft, and it added a ton of redstone-related items, including activator rails, redstone blocks, daylight sensors, droppers, hoppers, comparators, trap chests, and weighted pressure plates. Some players who used redstone a lot loved the update, while others were indifferent. And that's okay, because Minecraft is a game about choosing what you want to do. That's why the redstone update was so great. If you didn't want to spend hours harvesting pumpkins, you could use the new hoppers to collect them automatically while you're away building a house. If you didn't want to waste time sorting out your inventory, you could use the new comparators to organize your items while you're fighting monsters. The redstone update let players tailor their game experience
You fine?
in the way they wanted to play.
Yeah, totally.
That's what Minecraft is all about.
The Nether update.
If you'd have told us a year ago that some of the things in the Nether update were going to be a part of vanilla Minecraft, it would have seemed too good to be true. Until this update changed everything, the Nether didn't really feel dangerous. And even if it wasn't really worth exploring anyway. In 1.16, the Nether was still hell.
Nether update's probably among my top 5 favorites because of the Netherite.
Golems and Hoglins kept the atmosphere strange and hostile, while biomes like the Crimson and Warped Forests were beautiful and eerie at the same time. Not only was the Nether worth spending time in, thanks to Nether wood types and
Oh boy, there's a lot.
actually live there. The craziest part of the update, however, was Netherite. It gave a great late-game challenge to players looking to upgrade their gear without totally upending the traditional leather, iron, gold, diamond progression. A perfect compromise that opened up a world of possibilities for the future. In all, we got a ton of new creatures, blocks, structures, and, of course, Big Step.
A pretty scary update.
This update had a lot of fun, small features. Carrots on sticks let players ride pigs. Flower pots and item crates gave players more interior design options. And witches were a tough new mob to fight for players who'd gotten a little too used to zombies and skeletons. But there was also some pretty fundamental...
Back then, witches were completely silent, and they could jump your ass pretty fast.
Eventually becoming a way to imply enchantments. The Wither was a new boss that dropped nether stars, a crafting ingredient used in the new beacons. 1.4 pretty much invented what we now call the end game of Minecraft, by giving players goals to achieve once they killed the Ender Dragon. Players had to grind for Wither skulls, build a Wither, fight a Wither, craft a beacon, gather all the blocks needed to bring the beacon to full power, and then use the beacon's powers to fight monsters or build a huge base. All the while, players could use anvils to build up a set of perfect enchanted armor. What really made this update one of the best though, were command blocks. These blocks opened up a whole new facet of the game, allowing players to easily and automatically run all the commands needed to create homemade parkour maps and minigames. In all, a fantastic update that stretched the limits of what players could do.
I think that changed the world.
This update was huge, and every single part was amazing. Tons of new biomes were added to the game, including dark oak forests, ice spikes, savannas, mesas, flower forests, and many more, as well as 2 new wood types, acacia and dark oak. It's hard to pinpoint what exactly makes Minecraft so great, but part of it is that there's always something new to discover. 1.7's amazing new world generation made Minecraft feel that way again. Players had tons of new places to explore and to build bases, and a bunch of new block palettes to work with. Stained glass and new flower types gave builders and landscapers the chance to add a little more color to their creations. Overall, this was hands down one of the best updates in Minecraft history.
Caves and cliffs, honorable mention.
We haven't seen or had the chance to test all of the features in this update yet. We can't give it an official ranking. But based on what we know so far, this update could very well be the best ever. In a game called Minecraft, mining should be one of the core features of the game. But most players don't want to spend time mining because it's, well, boring. Minecraft's underground hasn't really been updated since the early days of gaming. Caves all look the same and aren't particularly interesting or challenging. Check out the videos in the description for a more detailed recap, but this update will change all that, completely revamping the underground world and put the mine in Minecraft once again.
Wow, that's so cool.
Minecraft 1.0.
After all that, one update remains, and what would it be but the one that started it all? The first official release of Minecraft, Minecraft 1.0. This update pretty much shaped Minecraft into the game we know today, adding everything from music discs to crucial steps in beating the game. Enchanting was added for the first time, giving players the opportunity to gain more powers even after they've collected a full set of diamond gear. But even more importantly, Blazes, Eyes of Ender, the End Dimension, and the Ender Dragon were added, basically creating the survival progression of Minecraft. This update transformed Minecraft from a very simple sandbox into the game we know today, with some of the most significant additions in Minecraft history. For that reason, it is by far Minecraft's best update. Thanks for watching.
Okay,
What? Oh, like the highest up? So this is just like a tea party on Mount Everest or something? You know who can probably break this record? Who? Alright, what's going on here? People can front flip into a pile of other people? What? I don't understand.
oh shit.
Oh my god.
I done effed up. I just done effed up. I can't see anything.
Alright, sure. I don't know how this becomes a record, but alright. Oh. Jeez. How?
No, it bamboozled me.
Baseball bats? Really?
I'm definitely dying in here. I'll die from my iron. I'll die happily.
Baseball bat? I want one of those right now. My mom returned my baseball bat one time. Why? She was like, you don't need a baseball bat. I was like, why? You're the shortest elevator. What? This is so stupid. Oh my god. I'm telling you though, I would use it. If there was this downstairs, I would always use it 100%. Now I can help people. I've been on the shortest elevator in the world. What? The highest bungee jump? Not just the highest bungee jump. The highest donut dunking bungee jump.
I'm out of this BS.
If you go too shallow, you don't get the record. You gotta be super precise. I've seen the Oreo one. I've never seen that one. No. I want to break the record for the Dunkaroo dip. I won't do it, but I'll show off. No, I don't need the number. I was going to dip it. 2 maybe? One in this hand, give me one, give me one. Yo, at that, I got to do it. Here you go. Alright, we got some serious spaghettios.
Minecraft mob tier list.
I'm a responsible meat man. Bacon. Which is why I was tickled to learn that Greenfield Natural Meat Company is proudly carbon neutral. That is responsible bacon.
Meet Acura's heroes of performance.
Wonder if you can see my rails from here.
Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
In this video, I'll be ranking every Minecraft mob in a tier list. That's right, I'll be ranking the absolute worst and the best Minecraft mobs all.
Yeah, you can see my rail.
If you don't know, the way this tier list works is that there's 5 tiers: best, good, average, faulty, and bad. And I'll be putting each Minecraft mob in one of these tiers. And now let's rank our first mob.
I think the best mob is the villager.
Silverfish, you probably thought of the portal room and the stronghold. And that's for good reason, because let's be honest, where else would you have ever seen a silverfish? Now, silverfish spawn from infested blocks, which are blocks that look identical to different types of stone, like stone bricks, cobblestone, regular stone, and deep slate. But once you break these imposter blocks, then you'll unleash a flurry of silverfish trying to kill you. Now, silverfish don't really hurt you that bad, but they can knock you into lava, which is especially common.
Yeah.
This is stupid. Come on. Why don't you put like a Llamas? You know what? I think you know what? Let's get the electric. Oh, it's electric. You know what? I'm curious. I'm going to go back to stupid with it, but like, I was going to say just maybe around the electric stuff, but no, that's not it. This is the charger of the district. Right? Oh, she's finally cutting them off. Imagine how good that would feel to cut those off. That's so gross to me. Like, wait, that are real nails? That's her real nails. No, it's her real nails. She puts acrylic on them to make them stronger so that they last. How do you try? You don't. That's the thing. It ruins your life. What do you wipe? Oh. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, hey, hey. I hate to be the one that just messes me up. Right? Definitely skipping lunch. Very cool, but like, the kids in the schoolyard, way cooler. That's what I'm saying, man. Oh, I've seen these guys. They blow up a hot air balloon. Or, what's it, a hot water bottle. I tried doing this. It's incredible. I can't do it. No, it's
I hate silverfish. Silverfish can rot in hell.
Silverfish also drop nothing except for XP, and they're really hard to hit because of how small they are.
Silverfish can rot in hell.
Now, goats. Goats are a mob that spawn in mountain biomes, and they like to ram you. Yep, that's right, they'll ram you. So if a mob or player is standing still for a certain amount of time, the goat will see this as an opportunity to put its head down and start ramming. Along with ramming, goats will also jump pretty high, with a maximum of 10 blocks. Now, just like cows, goats could also be milked with a bucket.
They can?
It's useful if you like crafting cake. But other than that, goats don't benefit you all that much. But
I know goats in real life can be milked, I know that.
Cool, especially when they're ramming or jumping. Goats are an average tier. Husks. Husks are essentially desert zombies.
Jesus Christ,
zombies,
I hate
they
husks.
can't burn in the sunlight. Now, husks look like zombies and walk like zombies. They have a different texture, but aside from that, they basically are just zombies. One thing husks do differently from zombies is that when they attack you, they will apply a hunger effect to you, which is a pretty neat touch to make this mob feel more like its own. Just like zombies, husks drop rotten flesh and can spawn with items like iron swords, shovels, and armor. Husks aren't bad, but they just seem like they were added to make deserts feel more exciting. Husks are an average tier. Striders. Added in 1.16, Striders were Mojang's reaction to everyone wanting one of these. Mojang saw that we wanted a way to traverse lava, and they delivered. Striders are similar to pigs in that you could put a saddle on them and get a warped fungi on a stick and start riding one of them. Striders are extremely slow on land, but oh boy, in lava you're not catching one of these things. Not only are Striders slower outside of lava, but they just don't like the land in general. They will frown and start to shake anytime they're not in lava. I guess they're
Astroneer, silly boy.
I don't know. You could also breed Striders if that's your thing, but overall, Striders are a good tier. Bats. So bats are just bats.
They're ass.
No, I'm serious, they really don't do much else. So bats are those things you hear squeaking and flying around in caves. They won't attack you and they don't drop anything. The only redeeming factor bats have is that they'll hang upside down, but other than that, they don't really do anything interesting. Faulty tier. Now strays. So similar to husks, strays are a type of skeleton that only spawns in snowy biomes. They look a little different from normal skeletons, sporting what seems to look like some torn up clothes, but that's not the only difference. Strays also shoot arrows that affect you with slowness. It's just a thing. Now, if you're in a snowy biome, then a skeleton has an 80% chance to spawn as a stray, as long as it's above ground and everything a normal skeleton would, with the exception of a chance to get an arrow of slowness instead of normal arrows. Strays are pretty much skeletons that look more cool. Average tier. Next up, Endermites. So Endermites are little hostile mobs that seem to be related to Endermen and the
I hate Endermites.
I don't think it's confirmed how they're related though. But either way, Endermites are the smallest hostile mob in all of Minecraft, even smaller than Silverfish. They only have a 5% chance of spawning when you throw an Ender Pearl, which makes them one of the rarest mobs mobs in all of Minecraft. Endermen will also attack Endermites for no good reason. Pretty rude in my opinion. But Endermites will attack you no matter what, and they don't drop anything but XP, if that even counts. So overall, with how rare they are and with nothing to drop, Endermites are just a faulty tier. Llamas. So llamas were added in one of the worst Minecraft updates of all time, but does that make them a bad mob? Let's see. Llamas are found mostly in savanna and mountain biomes and can actually be tamed. You can technically ride them too, but you can't put a saddle on them, so it's kind of useless to ride them. But what you can do is put a chest on them and have them carry a whole bunch of stuff for you. Different llamas can carry different amounts of items, with stronger llamas being able to carry more and weaker llamas less. Llamas could also spit at you, which doesn't do a lot of damage and is just more of a joke than anything. You could put carpets on llamas to make them look pretty snazzy. This doesn't add any benefit besides making them look cool though. Now while llamas were added in one of the worst updates of all time, llamas themselves aren't that bad, although it's a shame you can't ride them. Average tier. Now sheep. Sheep are an OG in the Minecraft mob world, and although they are old, does that mean they're bad? Sheep could come in a variety of colors. White, pink, rainbow. Now you could shear sheep with a shear to collect their wool, and whatever color wool the sheep has is the color you'll collect when you shear them. So if you ever wanted a mass collection of yellow wool, well, you know where to get it. You can also collect the wool of the sheep using a different method, but that's a little more on the violent side. But if you do decide to go down that path, then you'll not
Oh,
only get
Jesus
yourself some
Christ.
wool, but also some raw mutton, which is always a good source of food. Sheep are all around decently useful, but not amazing. Sheep are a pretty low good tier. Now cod. The
Are the color cartridges in your printer ready for another school year? Sign honor roll. The extra Nico tank. No more cartridges. It comes with the...
edible cod. The fish! So what can you really say about cod? I mean, it's cod we're talking about here. It swims, it's brown, and it drops raw cod, and possibly bones sometimes. Cod
Hello?
isn't bad or good, so I guess it's just an average tier.
Oh.
Hoglins, the mix between a cow and a pig of the nether. The hoglin is a big warthog creature that will fling you up into the air with their horn. Hoglins mostly spawn in Crimson Forest in the nether.
Wyatt!
Yes?
Why did that song play? I have a feeling to end my own existence.
So I have news for you.
What?
Apparently, they're making a... Oh, where is it? Apparently, they're rebooting Caillou.
No one asked. They're rebooting that shit show. Caillou's literally a spoiled little shit.
Who likes this kid? It's cancer and he never grows his hair back.
Dude, why do people say Eustace? Eustace is... Yeah, he's worse than Eustace from freaking, like, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Eustace is not bad in character, he's just an abusive asshole.
They gave them pupils. Like, just full and white and then pupils. What the freak? He's a wolf? A knight? Yeah, no one's gonna watch that rebooted. They canceled the first one because no one watched it. God,
Yeah, no one likes it. He's literally like a little spoiled kid.
Yeah. I heard this one.
And are afraid of warp fungi. I don't know why, they just are. When you defeat a hoglin, they drop raw pork chops and sometimes leather. Now hoglins are also breedable, which makes them the only hostile mob that is breedable. Well, except for killer bunnies, but do those really count? Hoglins can be pretty hard to defeat because they actually have a lot of health, and the reward for defeating them isn't really worth it. Hoglins are a faulty tier. The Elder Guardian. So I already touched on the Elder Guardian in my Minecraft boss tier list, but I think it's a pretty annoying mob to fight since you're almost always underwater when you're fighting it. And it doesn't drop anything all that special. I think the Elder Guardian is a faulty tier. Now Snow Golems. Just like Iron Golems, Snow Golems can be created created. But surprisingly, snow golems can actually spawn naturally if an Enderman put a carved pumpkin next to 2 snow blocks. But it's so astronomically rare for this to even happen that it's almost a myth. But as for snow golems themselves, in certain colder biomes, they'll actually leave behind a trail of snow, and will also melt if they get wet or if they're in a hot temperature biome. And by melt, I mean they will die. But if you keep them away from water or heat, then snow golems will throw snowballs at any hostile mobs. These snowballs don't exactly hurt the mobs, but it's the effort that counts. Snow golems are pretty useful if you live in a colder biome, but not so much if you live somewhere hot. Snow golems are in average tier. Slimes, green, bouncy, and cube. Slimes come in 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. They normally spawn in swamps or sometimes underground, and are pretty easy to defeat. Medium and large slimes won't drop anything except for XP, but if you kill a small slime, then you'll get your hands on a valuable slime ball, which is used to craft things like sticky pistons or slime blocks, which are very useful. Slimes are just a nice mob to run into, unless you're in a super flat world, and they aren't too hard to defeat, and of course give a great drop. Slimes are a good tier. Now a skeleton horse. It's pretty much just the bone structure of a horse in full display. You can ride it like a normal horse and even ride it underwater. It's an interesting biology lesson and a good mod, but it's also pretty rare. Average tier. Now Vindicators. So Vindicators are just another illager, but instead of something like a crossbow or sword...
Vindicators are scary. They take away so many health. I got hit for like 2 damage when I was running full-on maxed netherite.
8.5% chance to drop their axe, and a 50% chance to drop an emerald, which could actually be more than 1 emerald if you eliminate it with the looting enchantment. Not too bad for something that only has 12 hearts of health. The only problem is that Vindicators only spawn in woodland mansions and raids, so you're not going to be finding them all that often. Overall, Vindicators are an average tier. Ravagers. So I already talked about Ravagers in my Minecraft boss tier list, so I'm not going to take too long on this one. But I think Ravagers are a mob that you just kind of kill to end a raid and aren't too important outside of the saddle that they drop. Faulty tier. Shulkers. Shulkers were added in 1.9.
My bad thing about Shulker is that they just can't really respawn.
Look like Shulker boxes, or I guess they are Shulker boxes. But when you get too close to them, they'll open up and reveal a little head inside of them that shoots little pellets at you. And of course, these pellets don't just hurt you, but also give you a levitation effect for 10 seconds. Now, what makes Shulkers so useful is that when they're defeated, they have a 50% chance to drop.
What?
Rabbits were added in 1.8 and come in a variety.
Right. I hate my power outages.
Of colors. When you eliminate a rabbit, you could get a couple of items. There's a chance you could get a rabbit hide, a raw rabbit, a rabbit's foot, and of course XP as well. You can't tame rabbits, but you could breed them, so that's always nice. But honestly, I don't hear anyone ever use rabbits to make a farm, and they're so small that it's hard to kill them easily. Rabbits are in average tier. Now regular guardians. So guardians are the hostile fish you see swimming all around ocean monuments and can be pretty annoying to fight. I mean, anything is pretty annoying to fight in the water, but these things are especially annoying. They'll fire lasers at you and even damage you when you try to hit it, similar to thorns. Now in terms of loot, they don't drop anything too fancy, usually just a prisoner each shard, so it's not really worth trying to fight them anyway. Overall, guardians are a faulty tier. Pufferfish. You gotta love pufferfish, or maybe you don't.
Pufferfish are a danger.
Are of course a type of fish that are found in the ocean. If you get near them, they'll inflate and become bigger, which is neat, and if you kill them, they'll drop a pufferfish. Yeah, I don't know why you get an item form of the mob you just killed, but either way you still do, and it can be used for brewing or consumption. Pufferfish are in average tier. Phantoms. You love phantoms, right? I mean,
No, they could die in hell.
Mob vote. That must mean they have to be everyone's favorite mob, right? Okay, maybe not. So phantoms are those things you see flying around in the sky, but you won't see them unless you haven't slept for 3 days. They're just reminding you to go to sleep. I don't see the problem. Well, actually, the problem is that they will kill you. Phantoms will dive down out of the sky, scream at you, and then you'll take damage. But let's say you're on a 5-hour energy and insomnia prevails, then a phantom will drop a phantom membrane that you can use for brewing or to repair an elytra. Pretty useful. Overall, phantoms are an average tier. Pandas. Pandas are large mobs that only spawn in the jungle biome. What's interesting about pandas is that they have 6 different personality types, with each panda having one of these personalities. There's normal pandas, lazy, worried, weak, playful, and aggressive pandas. Each personality type will make these pandas act in different ways. For example, a lazy panda will lay on its back and is generally slower than normal pandas, or an aggressive panda will keep attacking you until you die if provoked. Now you could breed pandas and they have a whole genetic system to determine which variant you'll get in return. It's pretty interesting. Pandas have so many layers and mechanics, it's just a shame that they can only spawn in the jungle, although it makes sense why they can only spawn there. Pandas are a good tier. Now squids. Squids are pretty useful. Well, maybe not. Squids were the first aquatic mob ever added to Minecraft. They're passive mobs and won't hurt you, but they will shoot out black ink if you attack them. And if you keep attacking them and kill the squid, it will eventually drop an ink sac, which is used to dye things black or make black dye. So the squids have to die to give you dye. Interesting. Squids are just squids, nothing fancy. Faulty tier. Pillagers. Pillagers are the most common illager that you'll find, and also the weakest. Pillagers come equipped with a crossbow and have their own structure named after them, called the Pillager Outpost. Pillagers don't drop anything amazing, just a chance for some arrows and a crossbow. But if the pillager is a raid captain, then it will drop an ominous banner and give you the bad omen effect. Pillagers aren't anything too special, they're really just pawns for the better illagers. Pillagers are an average tier. Now the Wither. So the Wither I already talked about in my boss tier list, but overall the Wither is a decent mob that's extremely hard to spawn because of how rare Wither skeleton skulls are. But it's pretty useful late game for the beacons you can get from the Nether Star. The Wither is a good tier. Drowned. So drowned were added in 1.13 and are essentially underwater zombies. In fact, if a for 30 seconds is starts converting into a drown, and after 15 seconds it will fully become a drown. But drowned and zombies do have a few differences. First off, this could just be my opinion, but they look cooler than zombies. But aside from that, drowned, and if you kill a drowned holding a trident, there's a small chance it will drop. This is the only way to get a trident, so drowned are actually very important. One thing that is actually pretty good about drowned is that they will stomp on turtle eggs and attack baby turtles, so maybe they're not that bad after all. You know what? Drowned are a good tier. Now, polar bears.
Oh well.
Polar bears live in snowy biomes and are pretty tough with 15 hearts of health. They won't attack you unless you try to attack them or their cubs. In fact, if you attack a polar bear cub, then all adult polar bears within the area will attack you. They don't mess around when it comes to those cubs. But while they love their cubs, you can't actually breed polar bears, which isn't too big of a deal because they don't drop anything good anyway. Polar bears are an average tier. Spiders, the most accurately sized mob, if you live in Australia. Spiders are a very common hostile mob that isn't actually always hostile, because at nighttime they will kill you, but in the daytime they have a change of heart. Spiders sometimes drop string and on occasion a spider eye, which is used for, you guessed it, brewing. Spiders can also
I'm going to take a break, guys.